Hey guys, welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name's Alicia and today I'm going to show you all how to engrave on an acrylic keychain. If you're interested in seeing more crafts, make sure to subscribe and to hit that post bell notification for weekly crafts with us. So this is what we're going to be creating today. I'm going to show you all how to add the tassels as well as do the engraving using our Cricut Maker 3. Okay, to complete this project, you're going to need a few different things. So the first thing that we're going to need are clear acrylic key tags. So these are off of Amazon. You could probably find these at local craft stores as well. But we like these because they already have the keychain hole cut out. So it just makes it a little bit easier whenever we do the engrave. We don't have to worry about doing all that. It's already ready to go. You are going to need a weeding tool. You're going to need masking tape. You're going to need, you don't need these tassels, but this is going to give this look right here that we've made with our craft. You'll also need key rings, a needle nose plier set, as well as a strong grip Cricut mat. So we're going to actually be taping our keychain, our acrylic down to this Cricut. The strong grip is going to help as well as the tape because we really do not want it to move whenever we start the engraving process. Now let's jump over to our design space. So we're going to start by pulling all of our files off of the Maker's Gonna Learn website. I already have our script pulled up right here. You can use any of our font files. We have hundreds to choose from, but I really like this retro font. So we're going to go ahead and click this little cloud with the arrow, and that is going to download our font into a zip file. So go ahead and click on that zip file, and then you're going to find it in your downloads. If you lose it, usually you can come over here and select downloads, and then you can find it in your files somewhere. You can search up here if you really can't find it. So we're going to click that, and we are going to install the font. And now we're going to go back and find our image files. So that's going to be up here at the top of makersgonnalearn.com. You're going to select cut files. And we're going to need two files for today's project. So I'm going to go in and find our rainbow, which is the image that we're using on our keychain. So I'm just going to search rainbow, and you're going to see multiple rainbow images. I like to find something with clean cut lines. It's going to engrave a lot easier. If you're doing something with a whole lot of detail, it's going to take a lot longer, and you may not be able to see the details as well. So we're going to go ahead and download this. This one doesn't download as a flesh tone rainbow. It actually downloads as curves. So just remember that if you're having to look for the file, it's going to be downloaded under curves. Okay, so after you've found your rainbow image or whatever image that you choose, we love for you to find your own images and explore your creativity. That is always fun too. But I'm going to type in lines. This is going to help us with our engraving process. You cannot complete this project without this file. This is on the Maker's Gonna Learn website. So right here, this very first one, this is what we need. It looks like a block of just blackness, but it is multiple tiny, tiny lines all lined up together. So we downloaded that. It's in our downloads right here. And now we're going to hop on over to Design Space, and we're going to start putting together our file. Okay. Now that we're in Design Space, I'm going to go ahead and pop on over to our Shapes tab. And since we're doing a circle keychain, I'm going to select a circle. And there it is. So usually if you're going to resize something, we'll recommend that you hit this little lock pad here. For this circumstance, we're not going to because I want everything to stay proportional. And we're actually already at the right dimensions. So we're already at 2 by 2. That's the size of our keychain. And actually, just to be sure, you can double check by measuring your circle. And I feel like our circles were just right under 2 inches. So I'm going to make these 1.75. That way it's a little bit more accurate. And whenever we cut it, it's gonna be really centered. So there's that. I'm gonna change the color to white. And the operation is gonna be pin. The reason we do this is because when you go to engrave, if you still got engrave for the circle, it's gonna try to engrave the circle. So we don't wanna do that. We just need the Cricut to know that there's a shape there, and we only want it to engrave the graphic and the text. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my images in. We've got 2 that we need to pull in. So we're gonna go down here to uploads, and we already have them pulled into Design Space. So I'm gonna select the rainbow, and I'm gonna select our lines, and you go ahead and add to canvas. And you're gonna have to resize them. So I'm gonna like click off of them, and I'm going to resize this to, let's just do 2 by 2 just to shrink it down. And actually when you hit 2, if it's still locked, it's gonna resize it proportionally. So that's great. So just put 2 in your width. And then here we're going to, let's make this like a 5 by 5 square. You may run into issues with having gaps in the lines, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. But make this a 5 by 5 square, and that's gonna help you a lot. That's like the key to making sure that we get this fully engraved and that it looks like a solid color. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my text. We'll just gather all the things that we need. And I'm gonna change this font to Annie Carroll, and that's the font that we downloaded earlier, Carroll. If you download your font and you're unable to actually find it in your design space, you can also save your project. So you can come up here and save your project, and then click view and reload, and it'll like reset your design space. That way the fonts that you downloaded actually come into the program. Sometimes if you download a new font, it won't show up until you do that. So now that we've got all of our ingredients, I'm gonna go ahead and select my text, and then I am going to weld it, okay? And then you're gonna do the same thing with your rainbow image. We're gonna select it, and then you're gonna come down here and you're gonna hit weld. You need to do them separately. That is important. Once you have your images welded, you are going to move your images to the front. This needs to be at the back. These need to be at the front. So we're gonna go ahead and I wanna make sure that they're aligned to the front. They are. And then I'm gonna pull over my text. So I'm gonna just drag it over here. And then you're gonna select the text as well as that background. And you can just hold down the shift key and select that, and that grabs both of those images. And then we're gonna come down here and select slice. So it doesn't really look like we did anything. I'm gonna pull this over, and then you can click and drag again, and you're gonna have another image. And I think there's only 3. So you'll have 3, and then you'll have these little scragglers right here. We just want to select our best image, which is this one. Actually, I'm going to select this one. And then we can go ahead and delete everything that we don't need. So go ahead and delete all that. And then you can either reuse the original line image that we had, or you can pull it back in. Since I deleted mine, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it back in. And we're going to resize it down to 5 by 5 like we did before. So just hit 5, and then it'll automatically select 5 over there. And then we are going to pull our rainbow on top, and it is not on top. So we need to make sure we go up here to arrange and bring to front. Okay. And then you're going to hold in the shift key, select that background image that selects both images right there. And then you're going to come down here to slice, and we're going to just get rid of all the parts we don't need. So we're going to take this darker image and use that, and I'm going to select these and delete them because we're not going to be using them at all. And then what I'm gonna do is put these two images right beside each other and try to get my proportions right. So I'm gonna size this down a little bit, and this just takes, it can be a little bit finicky, so you just have to play around with it. I'm gonna select both of them, and I am gonna center them with each other. So you're gonna go align and center horizontally, and that's gonna get them perfectly in line with each other. And now we just need it to fit into our circle. So I'm gonna pull it over here. You can manually resize this. Just make sure you're allowing yourself enough room for the keychain hole at the top. That was my first mistake when I first made these. So make sure you're allowing enough area up here at the top so that you can actually put the key ring in. So this is gonna be our design. That's all that we need to do here. So once you've pulled your images into the circle, we're gonna go ahead and select the rainbow and the text and come up here to the top, and it says operation. Earlier we selected pin for our circle, but since we're gonna be engraving this, I want you all to select the drop-down menu and just go all the way down here to engrave. And it's important that if you have multiple Cricut machines and you're using them interchangeably, this needs to say Maker 3. If it doesn't say Maker 3, you're not gonna have an engrave option. It's just not gonna pop up for you because the Maker 3 is the machine that will engrave. So Maker 3, select engrave, and then we're gonna select the entire thing, the circle, the rainbow, and the text, and we're going to attach it. So from there, you're gonna come up here to make it. And then since we're engraving on the back of our keychain, we're gonna need to mirror the image. So it's gonna engrave backwards, and then that way it looks really nice and finished on the front of the keychain once we're done. And we also are gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna pull this down. I just wanna have enough seam allowance on, with this engrave tool, I wanna have enough room to engrave. So we're gonna put it with a 1-inch seam around the edges. So after you have moved your image down and given yourself a 1-inch seam around the edges, we're gonna select continue. And then we're going to select the machine that we would like to use. And we're gonna go to Maker 3 USB. And then this is important as well. So we're gonna go ahead and select browse all materials. We're using 2mm acrylic. So the option that we're gonna select here is the tooling leather with a 2.4mm. That is the one that we want, and we're gonna select done. I always select yes. It says knife blade calibration is recommended. Do you wanna calibrate that? Yes, I always select that. And then sometimes you'll need to cancel the cut after you select that and come back in, and then I'll just show you guys. So after you select it, hit cancel, hit yes, and then you're just going to go back in and do the same thing. I don't know why it wants you to do that, but it did it to me every time. I just reselected the maker I'm going to use. You can select the tooling leather, 2.4mm, and then this time I'm just going to hit no because we already did it. And now I'm going to load my Cricut mat. Okay, so before we actually cut, we're gonna need to tape our piece of acrylic down to our strong grip Cricut mat. One important thing to note, if you are using acrylic, they typically have a piece of clear film on the front. So if it looks a little foggy, you probably still have your film on there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. And then I'm gonna keep that shiny side up. So we're going to line this up. Remember, we need a 1-inch allowance all the way around, and we're gonna line our hole to this line, this center line, okay? And it should fit perfectly in those 4 squares since we're doing a 2-inch circle. And then after you have set it on your mat, we're gonna take masking tape and we're gonna tape it all the way around. That way, whenever we do go to engrave, it's not moving around at all. If it moves around, it's not gonna engrave where we want it to. And that is very important because it's not gonna look good if it's off center. Make sure that you are taping very close to the edge. If you don't tape close to the edge, You may risk accidentally engraving on the tape, which we don't want. So make sure you're getting really close to the edge. I'm gonna actually tape those corners down as well, just to be safe. It's better safe than sorry. And we're just staying really, really close to the edge. My font actually goes out very close to this bottom edge, so I'm going to leave those open just so I don't risk accidentally engraving on the tape. Okay, and now we're going to pop on over to our Cricut machine, and we're going to put this in the machine. Now that you've got your Cricut Mat into your Cricut, want to make sure that you have your engrave tool in here. That tool, I'll pull it out for you guys just so you can kind of see what it looks like. It has a really sharp knife, and actually where I was engraving earlier, it's kind of dusty. So you can see it's a very sharp pointy tip, and we're just going to put that in there. Okay. And your Cricut's going to want you to put in a black pen because we use the pen tool for our circle, but we're not going to be using that. So don't even worry. Don't even worry about that. It's just going to skip over that step entirely. So once you've got your engrave in there, we are going to go ahead and load our Cricut Mat. Okay. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and select go, and it's going to start the engrave. So this is our finished product, super cute. You can see how it looks more finished on the front as opposed to the back. So this is the side that we actually cut, so it's going to have like more of a rough texture, and then on the front it's going to be super polished and clean. So we really like how that turned out. And I'm going to show you all how to attach the keychain as well as the little tassels. Okay, so after it's cut, I am going to attach this keychain. So you're going to need needle nose pliers, you're going to need a little keychain, and mine actually came with this little chain already attached. So I'm just going to take that last link on the chain, and I'm actually going to attach one of these little guys to the bottom. So you can put it through the hole of your keychain, and it's going to look like that, so it's open. And then I'm going to just pull that right through there, and then we're going to clamp it shut with our pliers. And you can leave it like this if you want to. It's still really cute without the tassels. So if you already have these supplies on hand and you just want to leave it how it is, then you can. But I'm just going to clamp that together. That way it doesn't fall apart. So you can leave it just like this if you want to. If you want to add a little razzle dazzle, you can pick out some tassels. And these are super easy to put on too. They're like little hoops. And I'm just going to kind of open these hoops up with my pliers. Let's see. So I'm just opening it up a little bit, and then I'm going to add it to one of the links on our chain, and I'm going to pinch it back together. And this hoop is a little bit smaller, so it's kind of hard to pinch it together. It's harder than the other ones because it's small. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this green one. I love this color. It's so pretty. And these colors together are really cute. But you can do any color combination. You can do just one little tassel. I feel like it's cute with just one little tassel. But if you want to do a second one, just go ahead and move up to the next link. And you're just going to attach it the same way. And so you'll get something that looks like this, okay? And it'll already be attached to the ruby. So very cute. Lots of different color combinations that you can choose from. But yeah. Okay, so that is all for today. I enjoyed this craft with you all. If you are interested in seeing more crafts like this, make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. We would love to see you back. Have a good day.